And we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Gain LinkedIn Live. I'm joined today by Peter Kalanda, and he is a Gain advisor and also co-founder of Three Horizons Interactive Digital Marketing Agency. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you. We're two marketers today, so we're dominating the live. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty of hotel and vendor marketing, tell us a bit about your background and what you do for the hospitality industry.
Yeah, sure. So I started in hospitality. I actually went to school hospitality program in Boston University. I started off in operations. My first job before college was actually working with David Malilly at the Mayfair Hotel in like 1993. He was another Gain advisor.
Wow.
So I was at the front. I managed the front desk, multiple hotels in Manhattan mostly. Worked my way into Ernst & Young, the real estate practice, hospitality practice, and then started with digital marketing on my own, kind of self-taught, took a couple of classes, worked for a textile company that's completely different than hospitality, then started my own agency and been working with consulting and helping marketers with strategy, implementation, and it's been going great.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, I'm slightly jealous every time I speak to somebody in our industry who has this. I started in hospitality, I worked my way, and now I'm in tech, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do that. But yeah, the important thing is I made it, and I love it. So
same here.
And those relationships that go way back, and
exactly,
we got some photos of you both back then that you could blackmail David with. So today we're two marketers, and I wanted to pay tribute to that a little bit because I feel like sales gets all the attention in companies, and but they'd be nothing without us. Just kidding. But marketing is obviously super important, and a piece of research that's quite common knowledge is that 70% of the B2B buyer's journey is already completed before a prospect actually reaches sales. So, what does that mean for us marketers? It means that like our website, our ads, our social media presence, all of those things that we create and we put out there, and we have all these spinning plates, they are our mini sales reps working 24 hours a day. Yeah. So, talking of websites, I know that that's a big focus for your agency. And that's really where I wanted to start, because when I think websites, I think SEO. And I remember back in the day when SEO was a young new thing, and everyone was got to get it optimized. Now it's a given. I just wanted to ask you, what is the state of SEO today, and what kind of things should people be keeping in mind when they're building and maintaining their website?
Yeah. I mean, the SEO you want to. Today, there was a lot of talk about AI. Everyone's talking about it, but there's also the traditional SEO that a website has to have. You still have to look at your title tags, your descriptions, your content. If you have GA hooked up, you have Google Search Console hooked up. There's all these things that a lot of websites don't do, but as right now, what's happening is a lot of people are using AI. Everyone's using AI, right? So a lot of search now is geared towards AI. So a lot of the focus that a marketer should have is on long tail keywords and trust in content. Google talks a lot about EAT, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness, but now it's also experience. So you want to have that person who's a professional, who's creating content and is trusted in the industry, to create content constantly. Like, you want to create content that is optimized, has titles, has keyword focus, metadata, and also you want to also talk about localization is huge right now. A lot of hotels don't have their Google business page optimized or even have one. So that's just an opportunity that a hotel and or business can have. There's a lot of things kind of just like SEO basics that you want to look at. You want to look at your broken links. You want to look at leveraging internal linking, optimizing images, focusing on long tail, like I mentioned before. It's a big thing. So there's all these little long hanging fruits that we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you want to focus on what's happening in the industry now, but also you want to make sure that your site is optimized and has the backbone of SEO, which a lot of businesses or organizations don't have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been on the first-hand end of, websites that haven't been optimized as you go along, and it's an absolute nightmare when you come and you're like, oh, maybe we should have an SEO audit after I don't know how many years, and the work is literally insurmountable. Like you couldn't get through the amount of meta tags that need to be updated, the amount of images that don't have alt text, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think like what you say, that the low hanging fruit is not something that should ever be just passed by. Like just do your due diligence every time you publish, and make sure that the structure is sound. Make sure that you've put all that meta information there every time you publish a blog. Because it's one of those things, it is like, blog hygiene, just do it.
And it's always it's always put to the wayside. Like there's always, you have the content there, you have a good website, but Google can't read it. Another thing is schema, structured data markup. Like there's ways to have these search engines read some of this stuff, whether it be a blog, whatever the property may be. And that also helps AI too, because AI can read these things. So structured data is important, these title tags, descriptions, and I keep harping on these things, but I always see websites that don't have this. And also just when you start building, you want to have a digital marketing on your side with the designer and the coder, because a lot of sites don't think that way. They don't bring in a digital marketing person. They just build the site and then they expect Google to be, you ranking #1, which is, just doesn't work that way. So you need all these people working together. In the beginning would be great, but a lot of the time you just come in after the fact and just kind of help out and doing scans and updating and certain things. So either way, but in the beginning is ideal.
Get it done at the beginning and set up good practices. One practice that I remember that was in fashion a few years ago was setting up an FAQ page.
Yes.
And recently I saw that people are moving towards putting the FAQ on the page that it's relevant to kind of like strengthen that search potential.
Yes. I actually I'm working with a client now, and we're adding FAQs to every category page and internal linking those pages. Another thing is that internal linking is huge, because you want to be able to reach all that content. Sometimes the page is hidden and it has all this data, but it's not linked internally within the site. So that also helps Google. But FAQs on pages are huge now, because that also helps conversational search. Like you want to write the way right now when we're speaking, and that helps with AI too. So I've been doing a lot of optimizations on FAQs. FAQs are very, very important.
I can see the value of that. And like you say, long tail SEO, where we're optimizing for voice commands, right? Because that's how we're using chat as well nowadays. And I think also when you're talking about that those internal links between blogs and between specific product pages or what have you, again, you need a content manager who knows the brand and who actually knows the history of the company well, so that they can kind of find it and they can really create that web really good. So like you said, it's a team effort.
It's completely a team effort. Like you have to have that person on the client side to help you understand the business on the website. Because I've worked with both, where it's like, here's the website, you figure it out. And that's much, much harder than having someone on on the client side, helping you and understanding the site. This is the most important page. How do I find this? Where does this go? So that's 100% agree with that.
Yeah, totally. And I think also just to circle back to what you said before about, we're going to talk about it in a bit again, but about having a trusted person kind of writing your content and heading up your brand. So this week, I actually published on LinkedIn a post because I was so surprised but pleased to find that when I did a search for the latest trends in RMS on Google, it was not, I'm not going to name all the big names of the RMSs because I don't want to be biased, but it wasn't any of them. It was actually a thought leader. It was actually Ira Vuk, who's also happens to be part of Gain. And that was not set up, by the way. That was absolutely not set up.
No, not at all. Yeah.
As I just went through and I decided to do some different searches, and I was like, oh my gosh, like LinkedIn articles need to be part of your company SEO strategy.
Yeah.
Article can also link back to your website. So there's other areas that people are not thinking of, and it's why you need to keep up with the trends and just be kind of constantly enriching that strategy and strengthening it.
Yeah, and that article, again, it should have, it should be SEO optimized. It should have that structured data. It should have the keywords. It should have the title tag, the meta, the content, and that will only help. And then the post gets engaged, you get the likes, and then it shows up on Google as well, which is just great.
Amazing. And every company should have thought leaders publishing on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
By the way. So good. Okay, we've talked about SEO. Obviously, when we talk about SEO, it really does go hand in hand with SEM. So we can just maybe give a few tips on that as well, how those two disciplines work together.
Yeah. So whenever I do, get on a project or work with a client, and we start off with SEO, and either I help. I usually start with the SEO strategy and implementation and things like that. But also there's those search engine marketing too, and Google, Bing, social media, and a lot of people just don't either have the time or understand that both of these work hand in hand. So you get a page, again, you structure all the SEO technical side, on page, off page. You want to have all your keywords everywhere, the H1 tags, all those things, and then you start. Let's say Google Ads. You have your keywords, you have your ads, your headings, your descriptions, but you also want to make sure that those keywords that you're paying for are on the page that you're targeting. So they both work hand in hand. If the landing page has the keyword, your organic page has a keyword, the ad has the keyword, your quality score will go up, and your price of your bid will go down, and you'll get to that higher ranking. So you can own the page. You can own the first page paid, first page organic. The goal is to have that ownership of that whole page, and all these things work hand in hand. And I've seen people running ads who don't do that. They just write the ad, put hundreds of thousands of dollars into these ads, and then they don't get the conversion. And it doesn't work. And the first thing I check is, well, let's look at your page, your landing page. Is it organically optimized? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. And again, that goes back to the low-hanging fruit. You make these little changes on the SEO and SEM side, and I'm not going to guarantee anything, but it will go up. And sometimes sometimes you can see in 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months. But all these different channels just work hand in hand. They're not siloed. Not one. You can't do one. You have to do all of this, all working together.
Right. Yeah. And it needs to be coherent, right? If you think about what Google wants to see, and when it's scraping our websites, it wants consistency, it wants coherence. It doesn't want an ad, because actually that could be dangerous. An ad that's then going to a website that has nothing to do with it. In worst case, it could be dangerous. In best case, it's just irrelevant for the user. It's not what Google wants and promotes. So just have to think about that coherence. And I'm just thinking about a landing page that we recently produced, Peter, and talking about when you're talking about like a holistic strategy, like when you get to that landing page that is SEO optimized from your paid ads, make sure that your landing page is a highly optimized landing page. And, as you know, this is something that I've implemented, in previous roles with great results, and we've been doing it together. It's like, make sure the first thing that people see is a big claim. Make sure that this is not just because I'm more product marketer and communications, but the messaging needs to be good. Like, get your messaging right. Again, marketing is this holistic discipline where you need everybody. You need your digital, you need your developers, you need your content marketing, you need your product marketing, you need your messaging, get that done so that when you finally get the holy grail of someone clicking on your ad, bothering to click on your ad, coming to your landing page, that it converts them quickly, keep them in that ecosystem, make sure the above the folds content is really engaging, that you've got a demo form right there, and that if they do scroll down, that they can see the benefits. Let's not go into the right now, and let's have like an FAQ at the end of the page so that people have everything they want. They don't need to go off and do more research. It's optimized.
And it should be, it's got to be relevant. And there's so many pages, landing pages or ads that I've seen that you land on the page or the website, you have no idea what it's about. And it happens all the time. Like, if I land at a website, I want to know within the next 10 seconds or less, like what you're trying to sell me or what it's about. And it happens all the time where you just don't know. And then the bounce rate goes up, and then the quality score goes down, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
they're just wasting money.
And Google will penalize you for that, because it will, like say the quality score. If you're getting a bounce rate, the quality score will go down, and then it's not going to favor that landing page anymore. So
and then your ad gets disapproved, and then it's such a pain to talk to Google and trying to get these things reapproved. You don't want that.
You don't want to go there. Just get it
anymore,
right the first time.
Yeah.
So great. One thing I wanted to touch on. So we spoke about having like an authentic voice, and this is going to be a bit of the theme of the conversation, but an authentic voice, have a face for your company, use LinkedIn, as thought leadership. And I know that you also work with, influencer marketing. Now, influencer marketing, I mean, I touch upon it a little bit because I work with LinkedIn. There's people in our industry like Matt Weiss, Eric Tengen, Emily Goldfisher, David Malili, who have these huge followings, and actually they're, they can be categorized as micro influencers, although they are all representing their own brands. I haven't seen any paid ads, doing any paid ads yet. But can you tell me a bit about how you work with influencers and what trends you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you mentioned, micro influencers, sometimes it's more important to have someone who has 10, 20, 30,000 followers in a certain city, state, location, more than having that 2 million followers that span, the whole country or whatever it may be. Like I worked with a spa of all things a couple of years ago, and we had a gentleman that I work with. He was able to find local influencers that have 10, 20,000 followers that are, wanted to go and get spa treatments. And they went there, they went through the whole process. It took about 30 minutes. You take your camera, they talked about everything, and it was huge for them. And it was just because it was local. They know the market. It was in Florida. They know the city. So hyper local it's been turning out much better than the actual spanning the whole state or whatever it may be. So there's people out there, there's services that provide these things that you can find, these local people that have a following in that small city. And it's worked out great for the spa, really, really, really great. And that can be transformed to any industry, the hospitality industry. There's local people, in all these major cities that love these restaurants, love these hotels that go there all the time, use them. They can, give them a free night, give them a drink, let them talk to you about the hotel organically. It definitely works.
Yeah. I can really see how that fits with the times that we're living in, because I feel like, if you're talking about your classic influencer, some Instagram influencer, that feels so pre-pandemic to me. It feels so Instagram. It feels so false. And maybe people go for that and think, oh, it has a huge wide reach. Okay, maybe if you're Nike or something, but we're talking about local businesses. If you're talking about hotels, I mean, I'm more on the vendor side, but I can understand it. Local businesses that operate locally, right? Obviously, that depends on your client segment, and you need to go according to that, clearly. But that, you're actually building trust with your influencers, which is what it's about. You're not getting an influencer to like look glitz and glam. You're getting an influencer because they generate trust with your audience. And so I can totally see where that micro influencer trend is coming in. And I think what we're seeing even more so in the last couple of years with the real big advent of AI, popular advent of AI, though it's been going on a long time, is we want authentic voices. We want to hear real people. And that really goes along with that, because we need to trust. We're starting to get really discerning about, we don't like, company pages are really hard to grow on LinkedIn. Ads are getting harder because people are just like filtering out anything that feels like advertising. Exactly. And we're going much more towards like something that's more homemade, more, just ready to go, a micro influencer, somebody that you trust, somebody that you've seen, somebody that you can actually identify with. Yeah. And I think that's the issue of trust within marketing is something we all need to keep in mind and is an important thing, right, in our industry at the moment.
Yeah. Definitely is.
Yeah. So right, Peter, we are coming to the end of our session. I could talk about marketing for a full hour or more. So I did, we did promise the audience that we would go through, we've touched upon some really important areas of marketing, but that we would go through a kind of mini marketing plan, summing up what we've said, and maybe, a few different points that either hoteliers or vendors, because at the end of the day, we're all marketing, can, use in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'll bring up just kind of 5 points that I think are very important. The biggest thing is you want to define your target audience before you do anything. A lot of people just don't do that. So you want to know who your customer is, where they're coming from. You can get that from Google Analytics. You can get that from just doing some research in your local market. And then you build your online presence. Make sure you scan your website. There's a lot of tools out there that are free and also paid, SEMrush, Ahrefs. You'll be able to get errors, see what there's issues with your site, what you're missing. 404 links I see all the time, error pages. One of the worst things you do is you go to a website, you pay for a landing page, you're paying Google, and you get on that page, you get on a link, and it's an error. It's a broken link. So it's a user experience. It's just bad, bounce rate, all that stuff goes up. Leverage your audience, email marketing. Make sure you get have that sign up on your page, collect those email addresses, and just don't sit there and don't do anything with them. There's a bunch of paid and free email services. Send out even once a month. Anything is great. Just know what's going on your property or your business. Focus on content marketing, like we said, new, refresh, even old blogs that are on your site that you haven't touched in a long time. You can refresh them, and update them to be current. And of course, and then after that, track, optimize, make sure everything is working like it should. Scan, optimize, target.
Brilliant. Target audience. Check your website for errors. Start building an email list. Recycle what you've got. A lot of the time we can use already.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, you can reuse a lot of stuff that's already there. Yeah,
totally. And
long tail. Remember long tail. With AI, long tail keywords are big. And just trust. You want to have that trust out there. That's huge.
Right. Absolutely. And I would just add on the last thing, get your LinkedIn strategy in order as well, because if you're B2B, you can't afford not to. So great. Well, here's to a great 2025 and a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your long weekend.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for joining, Peter. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.